I'm Danielle, your host of the Abridged to Motherhood podcast, the place where moms like you learn to thrive, not just survive through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. I'm a birth and postpartum doula and a mom of two who's been where you are. My first pregnancy was filled with so much excitement, but it was also marked by stress, anxiety, and fear of the unknown. I thought I had everything mapped out, but when postpartum hit, I realized how unprepared I was for the physical, emotional, and mental toll of motherhood. It was overwhelming, lonely, and nothing like I imagined. When I found out I was pregnant again, I knew I needed to approach things differently. I made it my mission to not only prepare for postpartum, but to prioritize myself in the process. That shift changed everything. Now I'm here to help you do the same. Whether you're navigating your first pregnancy, feeling buried under endless advice, or struggling to figure out what you actually need for postpartum, this podcast is your safe space. You'll find practical tips, honest conversations, and expert insights to help you feel informed, supported, and empowered through every stage of motherhood. If you're ready to feel confident, prepared, and truly supported in your motherhood journey, stick around. This is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Abridged to Motherhood podcast. I'm so excited for you to hear my conversation with Allison Occkial today. She has 18 years of experience in the health and fitness industry. She's a certified holistic nutritionist and functional medicine coach, a certified personal trainer, menopause health specialist, and a pre and postnatal coach. So the girl knows her stuff. We had such a great conversation. We really kind of dove into postpartum health from a holistic standpoint. I really think you're going to appreciate just how she looks at your whole body, like red flags that you can be looking out for. And she really has just such a wealth of knowledge, from prior to pregnancy all the way up through menopause. So she can really walk us through this entire season of motherhood. She specializes in helping busy women and mamas go from fatigued and frazzled to having energy, strength, and confidence using fitness, functional medicine, and personalized accountability, which I don't know about you, but I need accountability. She's a mom of two herself, so her passion is really to help other busy moms and women in midlife learn how to properly lift weights, build strength, lose fat, and ultimately develop healthy habits both in and out of the gym. Her services include personal training, online nutrition and exercise programming, holistic wellness plans, and health coaching. She focuses on women of all ages with chronic stress, low energy, hormone imbalances, prenatal and postpartum health, perimenopause, thyroid, and adrenal issues. She used to compete in bikini in the bodybuilding world, but now she enjoys her quality time with her family on her time away from coaching. Can't wait for you to learn from Allison. Allison, thank you so much for being with us today. You are a holistic and functional medicine trainer, and I love that approach that you take. I try to take a holistic approach with my clients with postpartum doula care, so I'd love to hear you talk about just what led you to take that approach to fitness, and especially for like the prenatal and postpartum moms.
Right, exactly. So holistic and functional medicine, really what we mean by that is what I take from it is looking at the person as a whole person, right? And being able to look at a root cause, whole body approach to not only reversing health issues, but then optimizing health. And so much of what today people are walking around of what is common, but it's not necessarily normal and it's not necessarily healthy as well. And the stats are staggering here in the US of how many people are just unhealthy, unhappy, and specifically in the prenatal and the postpartum world, so many are having complications with their pregnancy or then postpartum for themselves or with baby. And so I started down this path. I started as a personal trainer, and then throughout my personal health struggles with hormonal imbalances and some other things, as well as seeing my family go through some health issues, you go to the conventional, you go to your doctor, you go to your PCP, and I got written off several times, like, well, there's not much we can do for you, or you should just take an antidepressant. That wasn't the problem. And so it made me dig deeper and go, okay, well, why am I having these health issues? What is the problem? Where can I find the real issue going on? And so that sparked me to then continue my training into nutrition and to lifestyle and functional medicine health coaching, and like really understanding the huge gap between just fitness itself is huge, but then how you look and how you feel and how you function is really important. And what I say is your physiology will affect your physique. And so
Mm.
approaching fitness specifically from that whole body approach, but also just health. So long story short, my own health issues led me down this path to then realizing there's more answers out there than what people know about. Now, when I got
Absolutely.
pregnant, that I just wanted to continue that approach and that philosophy and that asking questions, being my own advocate, and then helping other women as well.
What you were saying about your physique, say that again.
Yeah, your physiology will affect your
Your
physique.
physique.
And so
Yes.
many times we chase the other way around, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
eat less, move more. And of course, that approach, we need the lifestyle pieces in place, right? When it comes to achieving, let's say, your aesthetics. But there's so much more to that in terms of how your nervous system is functioning, your sleep, your stress, again, all of those hormones that come into play, whether you are, again, postpartum and you're trying to get back to a new normal, or if you're just trying to achieve better fitness, right? So looking at it from the inside out approach, that we have to do I say we have to get the small wins, we have to do the lifestyle pieces, but we also have to play the long game and looking at, is your physiology and your internal health up to par to be able to set the foundation to then take your lifestyle pieces and then give you the results that you want.
Yes, because you can appear healthy, but actually not be healthy. So you were talking about getting small wins, in our daily life, but then also how we have to take a look at our internal physiology and health and see if that's up to par. So could you maybe talk more about like how do you detect that and what are the steps moving forward?
With pregnancy and postpartum, those are huge changes with our hormones. So we are going to notice big shifts with how we feel, of course, but to a certain degree we also know what's our baseline and where we usually kind of feel our best. And so I always like to say, your body best, even if what is considered common for other women might not be actually normal or normal for yourself too. So I always advocate women to get blood work done preconception, actually in the beginning of their pregnancy, just to make sure everything is up to par in terms of their nutrient levels, as well as in postpartum 3 months, and then based on that 6 months, 9 months, etc., to monitor things. We do know that with hormone changes, underlying issues can be created or exacerbated. So let's say if you had underlying thyroid issue pre-pregnancy, that could then go into autoimmune or hypo postpartum. So always looking at those markers. Again, those also can then just pop up out of nowhere. So it's
Mhm.
always good to check in with yourself of going, okay, this is not normal, this is new, and I'm not okay with just settling and just being an advocate for yourself. So knowing, again, subjectively, what to look for and for how you look, feel, and function, and then being able to get those test markers. I always say it's great to get tests when you do feel great, because then you know what those should be. Because then when you don't feel good, you can compare the two.
I've never heard that before. The idea of getting it done when you feel great to know kind of what is that baseline that you're striving for. I really would love to dive more into the hormones, because I know that's something that you specialize in and balancing hormones. And I'm curious if there's something that you see often in your work with moms in pregnancy and postpartum as far as hormonal imbalances, or if it's kind of all over the place. Like, what do you see with the women that you work with?
Definitely, the four systems that would be affected are going to be your nervous system, your cortisol, your stress response. with that, including your adrenals are in there, right? You also have your metabolic health. So that would include your blood sugar and your insulin. We also have your thyroid, right? Which is also controlling your metabolic different pathways, but then regulating your digestion, your mood, your body temperature, and also lastly, then your sex hormones. So depending on if you are nursing or not, what kind of, postpartum experience you are having, those hormones will be dictated based on where you're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the four systems, all of them can be negatively affected. So we always look back to the foundation of how well is your nervous system being able to address the stress that you're under. It's good stress. You have babies, you have kids, it's amazing, but we need to be able to build up our stress resilience as well, because some of that stress we can't get rid of, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just going to be there. So we need to learn how to respond to it to be not have any other hormone issues. So hormones, the cascading effect is that if your nervous system is stressed out by multiple different factors, then it's going to affect your blood sugar, your thyroid, your sex hormones. On the flip side, for instance, lifestyle factors like what you eat, how you move, etc., how you respond to your stress, then will can negatively or positively affect your stress level. So I'll give you an example. So for example, your a stressor can be imbalanced blood sugar. And I see this quite often, plus nutrient deficiencies, especially if you are nursing. So that happens because of, let's say, erratic eating. You're eating one-handed. You might be
Mm-hmm.
able to eat, like you forget, you're not thinking about it, right? And a lot of women aren't drinking enough water, which is also huge for nursing and just replenishing all the things for your body, right? So the baseline habits we need, right? We need good food, nourishing ingredients, hydration. We're not getting that on a proper base on a consistent basis. So when you have imbalanced blood sugar, not eating properly, not eating consistently, that's going to be a stressor to your body, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that adds to the stress, and then it's kind of that chicken or the egg. It's just a vicious cycle. So there's things that can be controlled by our lifestyle, right? Like those small wins, being able to prioritize eating consistently, drinking water, moving our body, resting when appropriate, because if we can then support the overall stress bucket, we're trying to keep that as not as filled as much as we can, but then also can we help just take any of that out to find that balance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it always amazes me as I became a doula and I trained in birth too, just how intertwined all of our systems are and how when one gets out of whack, one hormone imbalance, whatever it may be, it can have this cascade effect. So I think what you're saying about, getting that blood work tested at 3 months, 6 months, 9 months,
Mm-hmm.
because there's just so much change in our bodies in that first year, especially
Yeah.
postpartum. And
Yeah.
as you were saying with nursing too.
Yeah. And sometimes those issues don't really pop up until 9 or 10 months. And
Mm-hmm.
then, wait, I was feeling pretty good. And why do I feel like crap now? And it's, again, important to keep on top of that and to not just settle and be like, okay, well, it's just my stress. Well, of course it's stress, but being able to understand, well, where's it coming from? And knowing too, with your baby's development, there are periods where they're going through leaps and bounds or regression. So there's going to be higher stress for you in that moment too. So just preparing yourself mentally that way, and okay, this is what's going on. I know I'm getting less sleep, so I'm going to still prioritize X, Y, and Z. You can still feel in control of some of those things that are
Mm-hmm.
completely out of our control.
Yes.
Um, and that itself is helping to reduce your stress. Because if we don't have any sort of plan for ourselves or any kind of structure, that takes up so much energy of our day. It's ridiculous. The decision fatigue, the mental load of being a mom, that's, I say, the hardest part is the emotional
Mm-hmm.
mental load. But if we can try to have some bad day minimums or like non-negotiables in our day where we can set, okay, these are times that I eat, or at least maybe not that, but I have some food prepared, right? So
Hmm.
I can just grab it and go and get it. It might not be always the same time of day, but it's something ready for me, right? So having those little things in place will help, again, reduce that decision fatigue, help you feel more empowered, motivated. Hey, I'm doing something for myself. And it's less stress because you're not thinking, what am I going to eat? When am I going to eat it? And that's just one of the stressors, right? So control what you can because there is a lot that we can improve on.
I mean, when you were just talking about like the erratic eating, and
Yeah.
I'm like, uh-huh, yep, I remember that all too
Yeah.
well. I mean, it's still that way, even with my kids being 8 and 4, with running to activities
Mm-hmm.
and all those types of things, control
Oh
your
yeah, no, and it happens
controllables.
when they're 12 and 16. Same thing, you're
Yes.
driving them to practice. And I talk with my clients and they had, let's say, older kids, it doesn't matter. You still have to be try to be one step ahead of yourself. So just as we pack our kids' lunches and meals, we need to be prioritizing ourselves instead of going, oh, I'll just eat their leftovers or I'll eat later. And you end up not only crashing and having no energy, but then you might end up overeating. Or, oh, I'll just eat the muffin when I get to work. And it's like, well, that wasn't the best choice, right? And
Right.
so trying to be, like I said, one step ahead of the game and being prepared, prioritizing yourself just as much as you would your children. And I know that sounds like, how can you say that? But like, if you don't literally take care of yourself on basics levels, we're talking feed yourself, right? We're not talking let's go do a spa day and get 10 hours of sleep. We're talking the bare minimums that you
Hmm.
need to function. And
Right.
those get so lost because we feel mom guilt or I can't do this. It's just the stories we tell ourselves plus, our social media and culture and whatnot. So, but being able to do those things for ourselves to be able to take care of our family is so important.
As you were talking, I was thinking a lot about how often we as moms, we have this idea in our head that, oh, I'm just tired because this is motherhood, right? You were talking about the mom guilt and the decision
Mm-hmm.
fatigue and all of those types of things. And I think a lot of times we can write some of that off because, oh, this is just what life is like right now. But what would you say to that mom to help her understand the difference between like, okay, this is just maybe some normal, common, like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's common postpartum exhaustion versus like, no, we need to dig deeper here to figure out what's going on. Like, what are those steps that you even take to figure that out, or how what are those like alarms that you're kind of looking for, as a trainer and as someone who practices that functional medicine approach?
Yeah, sure. I think just the vocab itself, right? There's postpartum tired. You're always kind of a little tired, but then there's exhaustion, mentally, emotionally, physically, where you just have kind of flat line all day long. You feel no energy all day long, mentally, physically. You're also, the scary part is, which this also kind of it crosses the line with postpartum depression too, of you have
Hmm.
no joy. Like you're not finding happiness in being with your family and you're just right, you're just apathy. Like that's what we don't, that's a huge red flag is that you
Hmm.
are just so tired you can't even take care of the basics, right? So also something to note would be if you do start to exercise or go for a walk or something really not super strenuous, but that tires you out even more, right?
Mm.
Or if you do take a nap or if you do get some sleep and you wake up and you're more tired. So things like that. Also kind of the flip side though too, stress can manifest like high stress to where you haven't hit that bottom out period, but you're like climbing right up there. You
Hmm.
are anxious. You can't sit still. You have insomnia. You're like, okay, I can't leave my kids. Like that's not good either to be on that high end. So both should be addressed. We want to try to stay as even keel throughout the day. But if something really sets you off, if you're on edge a lot and you just feel not balanced, I know that's a very cliche word, but you're not, you're just very sensitive, I guess is the most best way to describe it.
Hmm.
That also can be an issue with your thyroid too. So that's a whole different story. That is a symptom of that, but it's mostly just your stress response. So noticing where the anxiousness tips over into exhaustion. So again, physically and mentally, those are some things to look for before you get any lab work done. Those are red flags.
What would you say are some of these foundational things that we can do? Like you were talking about the bare minimum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of taking care of ourselves. Like if I come to you as a client and I'm at, those red alert areas,
Mm-hmm.
where do you start? Because it's so overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Oh yeah, 100%. So we look at what stressors you do have control over to change. And we kind of break them apart. And we also look at yes, we know we can control them, but are we willing to make a change at that
Mm-hmm.
moment as well? Because that's a huge factor too. I know this is a problem, but I'm not ready to make a change yet. That's okay, but at least we know that that is an option we can work on. So that's step number one is kind of looking at all the pillars of your lifestyle. With that being said, number two, we look at it. Can we reduce any of those? Can we delegate any of those? What kind of support system do you have? Obviously, you're a postpartum doula. You know the importance of having a community. And even as simple as like, hey, I'm going to do grocery pickup instead of going into the store, or I'm going to have my spouse, my husband doing, he can take care of bath or something where it seems very minimal, but it actually can make a huge difference in, again, your
Mm-hmm.
mental and physical load. It's one less thing that you have to do. Because I always say, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Because I can do it. Yeah, but can we let somebody else do it if possible, if reasonable? The other question I like to have with clients, and this is huge, definitely postpartum. There's only so many things that you only can do for yourself. And what I mean by that is only you can sleep for yourself, can eat, can exercise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we love our kids. Yes, we have a house and probably work and all the things to take care of. But those can, like those extra things, the dishwasher, the laundry, right? Like those can be delegated, but I can't exercise for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take that. Number one, you have to make sure it's a priority in your life. You have to see the value of taking care of yourself. And number two is putting it into your day where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this for myself. And you again see and feel all the benefits because only you can do that. And that usually rings home for a lot of women is like, yeah, it doesn't take very long. It can be 15 minutes in the morning. It can be, again, prepping those meals when I do it for my kids. But having that mindset shift is huge, which, again, those basics need to be in place.
I like that analogy. Well, it's not really an analogy, but like what you were saying, like there are
Yeah.
certain things that only we can do for ourselves. And that mind shift of the fact that it's valuable and important to do that because as moms, it's so easy to put everyone else's needs above our own. And yes, we need to feed our children, but like you were saying, we need to feed ourselves too. And if we can stack those habits,
Yeah.
like preparing our meals when we prepare their meals, that's huge. And I think you were talking about just like the societal pressures too.
Mm-hmm.
There's the idea of bounce back culture.
Mm-hmm.
What is a realistic mindset to have surrounding that and our hormone health and our journeys?
Everyone is so unique because again, it happens. What was your lifestyle before you even got pregnant, before you had kids? Were you even exercising? Were you prioritizing your health? Are you focused on it now? Amazing. But you're at a different part of your journey versus somebody who's been doing it for 10 years, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
only from a physical standpoint, but from a habit standpoint. It's a lot harder to create new habits. And so now you have a baby you're trying to take care of, and again, all those other responsibilities, and now you're adding yourself in. So each person's journey is very unique, again, starting from even before they got pregnant, how your pregnancy went, again, postpartum. Some of those things we have control over, some we don't. But realistically, expect to be like not ping pong across the wall, but like you're gonna have those like really good weeks and then some not good weeks in terms of just how you feel. And the progress is never linear, ever,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're postpartum or not. So I always like to focus on action-based goals and outcomes versus outcome. So what I mean by that is so you don't get frustrated when you're not seeing the quote results immediately. So what I mean by that is you're focused on, again, nourishing your body. Can I prep my food? Can I get some movement in? Can I do these little daily, weekly habits that's going to set myself up for the long-term success? So even though the scale's still the same, or I don't feel any different in clothes, but am I really truly taking care of myself? Am I doing the steps to get myself there? If you've answered yes, or at least I hate using the word trying, but the plan is there, you're attempting to do it, then that's a win. So you have to take, again, into consideration your own health history, the support you have, and then creating, I say, little, like, in order to stay consistent with it too, like putting those habits and the time blocking during the day. So for example, you want to do it, you want to exercise, but the timing, sleep is just not there, right? Like the baby's awake or my kids, da 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 da. So being able to, okay, choose your heart. Is it going to be in the morning before they wake up? Is it going to be, nap time in the evening? You just have to choose and pick which one. Choose the lesser of the evils
Mhm.
because no matter what, it's hard. Choose your hard and do it tired. Like, I know that's my little tough love there, but we have to, again, when it's a priority for yourself, you will, if you schedule it into your day with flexibility, of course, because, oh, like 9 times out of 10, my son will wake up when I'm working out, right, in the morning. So you just have to go with it. But I plan for my workout in the morning before, quote, before he wakes up, right? It's
Mhm.
not just like, I don't know when I'm going to work out. My intention is there. I get up, I get started, and the win can be I got up and got started. And sometimes it's 2 minutes that I get in and then I have to finish it later, or it's the whole thing, right? But it's
Mhm.
having that, okay, this is the time block for myself, and I'm appreciating and finding any wins that I can along the way.
I just want moms to hear what you were saying about we're all on our own unique path and
Yeah.
journey. Literally, I just did a solo episode about comparison and the trap of comparison, and it is the thief of all joy. And what you were saying, and that's why I have always preferred this a functional, holistic approach, and that's the kind of the approach I take in my doula work too, because we are unique as individuals and we have to look at what you were saying, like what were our habits even before
Mm-hmm.
we got pregnant? Because if we're comparing ourselves to the trainer that we're seeing online, who, like you said, that's 10 years worth of habits built up, and now we're trying to start it for the first time,
Yeah.
not the same. We're not at the same starting point.
No.
So I appreciate that so much what you're saying and why it's important to get that individual approach and that individual help. I know for me, I do so much better when I have accountability.
Mm-hmm.
The best I've felt in my life is when I've been in accountability groups, when I've worked with trainers. Can you talk a little bit more about what your work is and how my listeners can find you and what your approach is?
Sure. Yeah. Like we've been talking about, it's whole body, individualized, functional medicine, and habit based, right? So we've got the long term game and the lifestyle factors that affect each other. So when I work with any kind of client, we do, kind of a wellness audit. Like, where are we starting? What our goals are? Where do we want to go? Because then we can actually create a game plan collectively to be able to say, okay, this is where I want to be. Like I said, what are you wanting to work on? What are you willing to work on? Addressing sleep, stress, the blood sugar, the nutrition, the movement. They're all important. So we have to choose at least for sure one thing, right? To be able to do quality work towards that. And then if we want to work on other pieces, we can, but we don't want to overwhelm ourselves either. So
Hmm.
I have clients that say, okay, I just want to focus on my nutrition right now and then being able to dive into other things. Awesome. So I meet my clients where they're at mentally, emotionally, physically. And then understanding that their journey and their goals, that's what I'm focused on. So like I don't have necessarily set expectations, right? And I also, on that note, expect barriers and challenges and regressions and all the things because that's life. So we work through those problems together. My approach is that I'm giving you the structure and quote plan that you need while giving you, like you said, the accountability, the support, and the problem solving because it's having somebody to go to like, hey, as simple as it sounds, I'm not able to X, Y, and Z. How do I fit this in my day? So talking again more about that time management in quotations, how do we maximize the time that we have and being able to stay consistent? Because you can have the best plan, but being able to, again, number one, be flexible, and then number two, actually do it and be consistent. So it's always a give and take. I say things are in pencil because we have to be able to adapt and evolve with our kids and life and all the things. So easier said than done for sure. But yeah, so that's how I work with clients, definitely locally as well as, actually internationally. So whether you're local to the Cleveland area or online, it's definitely an option. Yeah, wellness plans plus coaching. And then I do have with that a small group, we do coaching calls. So there is that community support, which I love because then they can bounce ideas off of each other as well.
Yeah, I am a big proponent for community. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, where should they go?
Well, they can go to my website and we can link that at the bottom. You can also find me on social media, mostly on Instagram, Wellness with Allie. And you can check out different tips and things that I have and feel free to, set up a free consultation. We can see if it's a good fit to work together and see how I can support you.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I think this holistic approach and looking at our hormones and those four systems, I love that you are taking the time to look at each one individually and make a plan going forward and meeting your clients right where they are.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the A Bridge to Motherhood podcast. I'm so glad you were here today. If you loved this episode, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a review for the podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. Share it with a friend or snap a screenshot and tag me on social media. If you decide to leave me a review, go to abridgetomotherhood.com/review. That link is also in the show notes so that I can send you a little gift in the mail. Your support helps other moms to find the podcast, and it truly means the world to me. Remember, your motherhood journey deserves your care and attention. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, mama, and don't worry, I'm here to help every step of the way. See you soon.